This week on The Splash, we talk with a unique art group that celebrates local talent within Greater West Bloomfield. Then find out how one Keego Harbor woman is ridding her area of invasive plant species. And later, we discover some rather famous residents buried out at Pine Lake Cemetery. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything from local news to feature stories, all so that we can bring you the latest from the Greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash. Hello and welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson, and as always, it's good to have you with us. In Greater West Bloomfield, you can find plenty of art, music, and local talent within our area. And one local group based out of Keego Harbor is helping to bring all those individuals together. Here's The Splash's David Hours with more.
Keego Harbor may be a small city, but it is home to an ever-expanding artists co-op that eagerly welcomes new artists, inspiration, and ideas. We spoke with artists of various disciplines within the group to find out more about the group and its origins.
Actually, the idea came to me because we live in a small town here. We live in Keego Harbor, and my husband and I have been active in going to local meetings. And it came up, what can each of us do to help make Keego Harbor a better place, to help it grow? And I thought, well, I love the arts, and that would be a natural place to start. So I decided that this local area could really use an art community.
I saw a post on Facebook that Susan had posted asking if dancers, artists, singers around were interested in starting a group. And I answered right away because I have a lot of dancers and I have some singers at my studio that love performing, and I wanted to get more involved in the community. And that's where it began.
In the first week, it just really took off with I think the biggest reason it grew so fast is her idea to put the sketch out of a design and have the naming of the group, because that really drew a lot of interaction, and it just seemed like we took off in a matter of a couple of weeks, shot up from maybe 30 people, fans on our Facebook page, to almost 200.
Any and all art and creative expression is welcome with an art sale, whether you like watercolors, painting, singing, dancing, mixed media creations, or anything you can think of. Art Sale offers an inclusive community of support and collaboration for any artist looking to make connections.
People come together, people unite, there's a unity there. You get to know your neighbor, because I really didn't know, it's 1 square mile big. You should know everyone. You don't. So art sale is kind of a way to actually meet your neighbor, really meet.
We are Art Sale! Come join us! Woo!
For The Splash, I'm David Hours.
Thanks, David. And if you'd like to get involved with Art Sale or learn more about their group, then please visit their website at artsalekeego.wixsite.com/info. Or you can go to their Facebook page and type in Art Sale for more information. Out on Dollar Lake in Keego Harbor, you'll find plenty of plants, animals, and wildlife. But there's another inhabitant within that area, one not so welcome. Here's The Splash's Katie Wozniak with the story.
Leslie Clark is a longtime Keego Harbor resident and active member of the Keego Harbor Garden Club, but she's also an expert on dealing with the invasive plant species known as flowering rush.
I was showing people who are in the business of controlling invasive species or live on lakes that have invasive species how to attack a particular plant called flowering rush. It's a really, really pretty pink flowering plant that blooms from June on, and it's an invasive from Europe and from Asia, and it's starting to take over.
For years, Leslie has been ridding our lakes of invasive plants, such as Phragmites. But the species of flowering rush came as a challenge due to its startling growth rate and unfamiliarity with lakefront owners.
Invasive species are a worldwide problem. As people are moving around the globe, we are bringing invasive plants and animals with us. Flowering rush, for example, has a very pretty flower. So you can still buy it in catalogs. It's still for sale. But we are now finding that when we bring these plants here, they leave behind the things that eat them and keep them in check in their native environment. And so here they are growing unchecked.
A common misconception is that flowering rush is just another plant on the lake. But Leslie explains it's not always the case.
Well, those plants didn't evolve with our insects and birds and water life, so they don't provide the same services to those creatures that the native plants do. So our main problem is trying to prevent the eradication of the native species that do make up the total ecosystem here.
Leslie's knowledge on the subject has even brought those from outside of Kego wanting to learn how to address it.
The most exciting thing to me was the dedication of the local folks in trying to get these problems treated. It's very difficult to get money to do invasive treatment, and garnering the support of local landowners is really critical to the process. And I think that these small-scale efforts can have a large impact on our overall solution to invasive species throughout Michigan.
I've gotten very involved in the ecology of the area. The ecology of the area is really interesting, and because it's a crossroads town and because it's on 2 or 3 lakes, we have all kinds of risks for invasive species here. And so it pays to have somebody keeping an eye out and raising the alarm, and educating the neighbors is important.
For The Splash, I'm Katie Wozniak.
Thank you, Katie. And thanks also to Leslie Clark for her efforts in preventing this plant species from gaining any more of a foothold within Kego Harbor. And if you'd like to see more from this segment, you can go to civiccentertv.com/floweringrush. Well, don't go away, folks. We've got a lot more to cover on this week's episode, including another edition of Sidewalk Talk with George Moore, and then a look inside this year's Pine Lake Cemetery tour afterwards. Stay tuned.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Civic Center TV celebrates our region's natural beauty, proud history, tremendous accomplishments, and more with Another Angle, a series featuring a unique bird's-eye view of our area's landscape. Watch Another Angle on Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Civic Center TV has gone social. Now it's easier than ever to watch, save, like, and share our videos online. See what's happening in your neighborhood, on the streets, and on the web at civiccentertv.com. Be a part of the conversation and get involved. We would love to hear from you. For links to our social media pages, visit us at our website or find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
The best way to know when shows debut on Civic Center TV is to become a member. It's absolutely free. We'll send you a regular newsletter with all the latest updates. Just go to civiccentertv.com and click the Members tab. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson. Over at Pine Lake Cemetery, you'll find a number of famous and local residents within our area, which has led the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the cemetery staff to work together in order to bring its history to the public. Here's The Splash's Larry Nyland with the details.
The biannual Pine Lake Cemetery Tour recently took place. And while most of you have probably driven past the cemetery on Middle Belt just north of Lone Pine Road, not all of you may realize the history of the only public cemetery in the township of West Bloomfield.
Dates back to 1830. And Jedediah Durkee donated the first 3/4 of an acre here, and his brother was eventually buried a couple years later here.
We think the first burial was Eben Ellenwood, and the Durkees and the Ellenwoods were good friends. In fact, living together in one cabin, and there were 24 of them in one cabin at one time on Pine Lake, so it was a very close friendship.
Pine Lake Cemetery is also the final resting place for many notable citizens of both local and American history.
Charles Lindbergh's mother is buried here. She was a school teacher in Detroit, and her summer home was out here off along Lake Road. And so she came out here, and her brother is a lodge in the Lodge family, and he's buried next to her. And we have Norm Cash, baseball player. Nick Petrosante's buried here. Bill Bonds has also been interred here.
For those still thinking about calling Pine Lake Cemetery their final home, there are no more plots available, but there is another option.
We also have a columbarium up at the top of the hill of the parking lot here that still has availability for cremation interments.
Reporting for The Splash, this is Larry Nyland.
Thanks, Larry. And if you'd like to participate or even find out when the next Pine Lake Cemetery tours will take place, then you can visit the Historical Society's website over at gwbhs.org for more information. Well, it's time to move on now to another of our Splash segments, Sidewalk Talk, where our very own George Moore discusses topics at random with residents here in Greater West Bloomfield.
Hi, George Moore for Civic Center TV and The Splash, out here on the streets of West Bloomfield, once again asking the questions. This time, we want to find out what's the worst injury you've ever had. What's the worst injury that you've ever had?
Oh, I have a lot of injuries. So, probably my wrist. I hurt it. I got 2 sprains. One's snowboarding, one's longboarding. And it made it so like it doesn't heal properly, so I can't put too much weight on it. So like I'm like limited by how much I can bench.
I think the worst injury I ever had was when I was working out right before my daughter's bat mitzvah to try to get in shape, and I fell on a Bosu ball, which are stationary objects, and it's impossible to fall and injure yourself on one, but I did it, and I broke my ankle right before her bat mitzvah. That was the worst.
Probably a badly sprained shin. Playing basketball. Came down wrong, somebody undercut me, and it kept me out of whack for probably a month or so.
Oh, I think it was in April when I fell down on my kitchen floor. And that was a mess.
So the one that had the most impact on my life was when I hurt my knee my sophomore year when I was playing football at the University of Michigan, which effectively ended my career. So that was... And it was weird. When it happened, it wasn't that painful.
Probably breaking my arm. I was like 11 or 12. I was at my cousin's birthday party. And, you know, all the kids, we were wrestling on the band stuff. And so he pushed me off the band. I had broke my arm, so yeah.
Have you forgiven him?
Nah.
No, he hasn't.
The worst injury I've ever had was hitting my head on a metal stepladder at a lake.
Ouch. I had 3 retinal detachments, and all of them were successfully retached. And so they were my worst and my best.
I want to say heartbreak, but that hasn't happened yet. So other than that, I'm good, pretty healthy.
I messed up my ankle on a trampoline. I bent it in a very awkward and odd way, and it still hurts. It's because I'm getting old.
Wow. So ligament damage, basically?
I didn't even go to the hospital. I just kind of whined and complained about it. That's usually how I do things. I whine and complain. It's all about the attention.
Once again, Greater West Bloomfield area, you come through like champs in answering the questions that we ask you. So we'll be out here again, so look for us. For Civic Center TV and The Splash, I'm George Moore. Sidewalk Talk.
Once again, another great episode from our very own George Moore, who as always gave us some of the greatest questions to ask you, the community. But if you haven't seen them for yourself, then you can go check them out on our website at civiccentertv.com/sidewalktalk. But it's time now for a Civic Center event update. And to stay up to date on all the following current events, you can visit civiccentertv.com/events. So let's get started. First off, starting this week, the West Bloomfield Trail will be closed at the Orchard Lake Road crossing, just south of Pontiac Trail. This area will be inaccessible for at least 3 weeks, although the exact time frame will be dependent on the weather. Signal pedestals and ramps are being added to make the crossing ADA compliant. For more information, call 248-451-1900 with any questions. Crispelli's Bakery and Pizzeria is offering a comfortable and casual atmosphere for you to cook your own customized personal pizza with help from their great chefs. And it all starts on October 15th from 10 a.m. till 11. The registration deadline is Tuesday, October 11th, and is $27 for residents and $32 for non-residents. And that cost covers both parent and child registration, while including 1 pizza and dessert. Also, 1 other child may attend with the same parent for an additional fee of $16 for residents and $21 for non-residents. The October selection of the 2016-2017 book review series are reviewing The Nine Inside the Secret World of the Supreme Court by Jeffrey Toobin on Wednesday, October 12th at 7 p.m. and again on Friday, October 14th at 10 a.m. in the meeting room of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. The Coding Club is back, and whether you're new to computer coding or have been coding for years, this club is for you. Sessions are led by local students who will be teaching structured lessons in QBasic, HTML, and JavaScript. The club is also meant for students in 6th through 12th grades and will take place at the West Bloomfield Main Library on Wednesday, October 12th from 7 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. No registration is required. On Thursday, October 13th, at the Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, there will be a cooking demonstration along with an update on the newest research and technology to prevent breast cancer. A fitness expert will be there to explain the benefits of relaxation and exercise on breast health, and it all starts at 6:30 p.m. Register at the Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital website or call 248-325-3890, and the fee is only $10 per person. Come experience the changing seasons at Marchbank Park while enjoying a tractor-drawn hayride on Friday, October 14th from 6:30 p.m. till 8 p.m. The cost is only $8 for residents or $10 for non-residents. And you can visit the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation website to sign up or call 248-451-1900. At the West Bloomfield Public Library, don't just read for this year's Teen Read Week, but create a book as well. On Saturday, October 15th at 2:30, you can come learn a variety of bookbinding techniques that will have you on your way to making your own masterpiece, from cover to cover. The event goes until 4, so stop on by any time, as no registration is required. On the Autumn Nature Walk, you'll join naturalist Carol Fink for a guided tour through rolling terrain at the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary on R-Line Drive. It all starts on Sunday, October 16th at 2 p.m., and no registration or interest fee is required as well. Are you new to email marketing and want to learn how to use Constant Contact? Then come to this seminar at West Bloomfield Public Library on Monday, October 17th from 8 a.m. till 10, where you'll receive a live guided demonstration on the tools and features inside Constant Contact's email marketing system. All there, you'll learn the basics while enjoying a relaxed and friendly educational session. The cost is only $10 for Greater West Bloomfield Chamber members and $15 for non-members. On Wednesday, October 19th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Family Aquatic Center, you'll learn how to keep your bones healthy and strong while preventing osteoporosis with proper nutrition and exercise. Although the event is free, please pre-register in advance. At West Bloomfield High School, the marching band, symphonic winds, symphony band, concert band, choir, and orchestra all together will be performing during their Prism concert on Wednesday, October 19th from 7 till 9 p.m. This is a night you won't want to miss, folks, so mark it down in your calendars. On Thursday, October 20th, the 2016 Senior Health and Wellness Expo, in partnership with West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation, will provide education and tools for fulfilling a well-focused life. Enjoy health talks from clinical experts, local vendors, and a Detroit Institute of Arts presentation. Due to availability, lunch vouchers will only be provided to the first 200 attendees. And if you live along or drive through Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor, there is a short-term road closure near the Magnolia by the Lakes Project. This portion of Cass Lake Road will be closed until October 21st. A walking bridge connecting the two Magnolia buildings will also be constructed, and the portion of Cass Lake Road between Front Street and Stapleton Drive will be closed Monday through Friday, but it will be open to traffic during the weekends. For more information, call the Road Commission of Oakland County or go to their website at rcocweb.org. And that's all for now, but if you're looking to find even more events going on in your neighborhood, then be sure to follow us at civiccentertv.com/events and look up our events calendar. Or you can watch us here for more information on everything going on in the Greater West Bloomfield area. And as we head into the break, stay tuned, because afterwards I'll be talking with two talented West Bloomfield students who also announced the football games for WBLD.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
I'm Kelly Waterfall for Civic Center TV. All around West Bloomfield, people are saying there's great, if not totally compelling programming on Civic Center TV. What's the best way to know when our newest shows debut? Become a member. It's absolutely free. We'll send you a regular newsletter with all the latest updates. Just go to civiccentertv.com and click the Members tab. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Be sure to catch live coverage of Laker sports, up-to-date information on local events, and of course, non-stop music on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.
For years, Civic Center TV has been bringing you live coverage of local municipal meetings. The meetings are now available on demand at civiccentertv.com/meetings, or watch the meetings again the following day on Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson, and joining me today On the show are the two co-announcers for WBLD's football games, Jake and Vibov. Guys, how are you doing today?
We're good. How are you?
Nah, good. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Awesome. Glad to have you guys here. I mean, you are a voice we often hear on WBLD 89.3, but we're here to talk to you guys, a little bit about you. So, where do you guys go to school? You're from West Bloomfield?
Yeah, we both go to West Bloomfield.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We also both live in West Bloomfield, too.
Nice, nice. And how do you like it over at West Bloomfield High?
Well, yeah, I really like West Bloomfield. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of kids, and it's like a public school, so it's what you would expect it to be.
Right. Yeah.
It's diverse, and definitely comparing it to other schools, like, I wouldn't really want to be anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is that when you're at West Bloomfield, how did you get involved with the radio station? Did you hear about it at school or somewhere else?
Well, last year we heard the same radio station for like 89.3 with Justin Fromer from last year. And then Vibov and I, we talked about it, and I wanted to talk to Mr. Watson, who's our principal, about doing the radio commentating. And then, so I emailed him, and then he got back to me like right away about this radio station, and he referred me to Dave Scott, who's one of the main guys here.
Oh, okay, nice. And then from then, you just kind of worked together to make it happen, yeah?
Yeah, we met a few times over the summer and just kind of got stuff going and what we needed to do the job for, announcing the games. And then once the season started, we just picked up from there.
Awesome. Now, you guys obviously do the football games. What is it about football you just enjoy so much?
It's just a sport that we've both grown up watching, and it's just really fun. And yeah, I mean, it's something that we both like, and we even play, like, in the backyard sometimes. So something that we love to watch and play.
Yeah, it's a great sport. Love it, too, myself. I'm a big Lions fan, but also I'm starting to become a Lakers fan because I get to hear you guys, so it's working out. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the Lakers a little bit. They're doing all right, but they've had a couple games where they've struggled so far. What would you say your thoughts are for the rest of the season? Do you see good hopes, or are you worried about their playoff contention or something like that?
Well, currently our record stands at 3-3, which is perfectly fine. We have 3 more games left, which means, like, we really do have to win at least 2 of them to make the playoffs, or even talking about the playoffs at all. Now that we're a more successful team, because the last 2 years we made the playoffs. We were undefeated last year, and we came into this year with high expectations as well. And now, like, it's a mid-season basically, I would say. Yeah. And then the team just needs to really mesh together right now. Yeah. There hasn't really been very close games that we've lost. And definitely, like, with a bunch of the new transfers that we got recently, it's just that chemistry that's been building throughout the year. And, like, during the home stretch of the season, in these last 3 games, it's really important for us to, like, get those games together. And then I think the team is coming together well right now. We've had a few tough losses, but those only make the team stronger. And, of course, Coach Bellamy, is doing a great job bringing them together and making them focused for this last stretch.
Yeah, Coach Bellamy, love the guy. We had him on the show a while ago, and he mentioned you two and just said, guys are doing a great job over there, and you're working hard, and you're helping get these students used to public speaking, which can sometimes be difficult, but you guys do it very well, I got to say, and I love listening to you too, so. But I was also curious to know, what is it about student radio, or radio, I guess, in general, that appeals to both of you?
Well, right now, I think this is a great start for both of us. It's a high school atmosphere, and it's pretty easy access for everyone to listen to. Like, a lot of people go on the radio, or it's even online, too. I always tweet it out when we're live.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's a great start for us, and it can lead for, like, future radio or even on television as well. Yeah. Along with the accessibility, just, like, the passion for the game, I guess you could say, like, just to be involved with football, even if we don't play football. And, of course, as Jake said, we can go with it further on and continue our love for football in other ways. Yeah.
And radio, too. So you get it both. Yeah, it's both. That's awesome. And any other sports you guys involved in over at West Bloomfield?
Well, I play baseball and tennis as well for the high school. And then also, we're not sure yet, but they want us to commentate for basketball.
Okay. That could be something, yeah.
Yeah, and I also play tennis, and I'm hoping to play basketball this year as well. So, I mean, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Well, you're very tall, too, so I can see that working out. Yeah. But, tennis, another good sport. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So, I guess my last question, though, for the day would be, what is it you guys are hoping to do in the future? Probably radio broadcasters, or going to school to learn more about journalism or broadcasting? Or is that the plan? Or?
Definitely that's, like, something that we would both think about. I know I definitely think about it, and we even see our friend Justin Fromer, who at Michigan State, is doing some things with their team. And so just following his lead and just trying our best to keep it in the back of our minds while we're, progressing in the future and whatnot. Well, yeah, since we're already like starting at the high school, I think we're paving our own path since we also have another year, because we're only juniors right now. We have another year for commentating. We have another year to get our voices out and more people will hear about us. So it's like really great to start here. And of course, I will like consider. I really do want to commentate further past high school if the opportunity comes, but also I have to focus on school as well and education.
Well, Jake and Vibe, thank you again for joining me today, guys. Remember, you can catch the both of them on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM, every night, Friday night at 6:45. Guys, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Not a problem. All right, well, now it's time to turn to our next segment on the show, Minute with Nature, where we talk with park naturalist Lauren Azuri over at West Bloomfield Parks and Rec.
Welcome to Minute with Nature. I'm Lauren Azuri, your host, and also the park naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. We're here today inside our nature room, and I want to talk to you about Phragmites. It is an invasive species, a very tall plant, can grow up to about 15 feet tall, has a giant plume on the top, and most commonly found in road right-of-ways and wetland areas. An invasive species is kind of what it sounds like. It invades an area. It's not something that belongs there, and it's not native to the area. A lot of invasive species were brought over from foreign countries, and in those countries where they originally grew, they are valuable to the wildlife that they have here. But here in Michigan, there's no wildlife value to Phragmites. It also isn't great for all the animals that live there. For instance, cattail, which is a native plant, does grow in dense clusters, but it has wildlife value. Muskrats eat the roots and use them to nest in. Other animals and plants use them to hide in and as a food source as well. Whereas Phragmites does not have any wildlife value. No animal that we know of eats it here in Michigan or uses it for shelter or for building their homes in Michigan. West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation is partnering with the Road Commission to use chemical controls to get rid of the Phragmites. You'll see them spraying on the side of the roads and the road right-of-ways, as well as within our park system. The spray is hopefully going to be brought down to the root system of the plant, and the root system of this plant of Phragmites is very intense, and that's where we want to hit it so that it doesn't continue to grow. And that's your Minute with Nature.
Thanks, Lauren. And if you'd like to see even more episodes of Minute with Nature, then you can visit civiccentertv.com/MWN. But now let's turn to our other segment here on the show, our Person of the Week, where we acknowledge an individual within the community who is either helping or inspiring others. And this week's recipient is retired Fire Chief Jay Wiseman. West Bloomfield's previous Fire Chief, Jay Wiseman, was one of the longest-running members to have ever held the position. He came to West Bloomfield in 1989 as a firefighter/paramedic, and from then on provided safety and care towards our residents for over 2 decades. During his tenure, Jay worked his way up the ladder until he became the chief in 2009, in which he was responsible for maintaining 6 fire stations, handling over 42,000 emergency situations, and becoming the first chief to implement Blue Card certification within his officers in the state of Michigan. But Jay's service extended beyond his duties within the fire station, as he was also a past president and member of the Optimist Club, which helps to provide care and support towards children who are less fortunate. In his long 25 years here, Jay has left his mark on the township of West Bloomfield, not only protecting the lives of our residents, but caring for them as well, making him our Person of the Week. And if you or someone you know happens to provide a service to their community, then let us know by sending an email to the Splash at civiccentertv.com. We want to congratulate those who are making a difference in our area, and we appreciate any and all suggestions. Unfortunately, though, that brings us to the end of our show today. But as always, you can catch new episodes of The Splash every Monday at 6:30 and throughout the week for replays. And you can also look up previous episodes online at civiccentertv.com or follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook under Civic Center TV for more information. For all our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and of course, West Bloomfield, I'm Jonathan Jackson, and we want to thank you for watching.